Hey guys, Sean here. Welcome to the F1 Word Until roundup of the third day of the second preseason test in Barcelona. It was once again another very impressive day in terms of lap times, but also in terms of productivity. All 10 teams managed to rack up a total of more than 100 laps each, which means that as a baseline as we head to Melbourne, reliability, especially on long runs, is looking fairly solid for all the teams. Sebastian Vettel then topped the session on day 3 with comfortably the fastest time of testing so far, a 1:17.182 on the Hypersoft tyre, and he also completed a very impressive 188 laps. Kevin Magnussen ended up second place, a 1:18.3 left in 1.2 seconds off the pace, but on the Supersoft tyre, 153 laps as well, which is really solid for Haas. Pierre Gasly continuing Toro Rosso's impressive preseason with 169 laps and just 1.2 seconds off the Ferrari. He also ran the Hypersoft tyre, as did Nico Hülkenberg, who did a 1:18.6. But look at that, Carlos Sainz P5. There is nothing between them Renault drivers. That is definitely a battle to keep an eye on. 79 laps for Hülkenberg and 69 for Carlos Sainz. McLaren had a much better day on day 3. Stoffel Vandoorne racking up 151 laps. And as far as we know, no mechanical issues. A 1:18.8 for him. He also ran the Hypersoft tyre. And Marcus Ericsson, P7 in the Sauber, 148 laps and just 1.1 seconds off that Ferrari on the same tyre. Now, either that Sauber is seriously impressive and we're in for a very tight season, or, as I suspect is the case, and as we keep saying, you really can't read too much into these times. But again, some really good running there for Sauber. Lewis Hamilton, he ran in the afternoon. 84 laps on the board as Mercedes appeared to do a completely different programme to Ferrari. They ran the mediums, a 1:19.2 for him and a 1:19.5 for Valtteri Bottas, who got 97 laps on the board. Robert Kubica, again, the fastest Williams over testing. He ran in the morning, 73 laps, a 1:19.6 on the Supersofts. Once again, a really good lap tally for Force India, 159 for Sergio Perez, a 1:19.6 on the Hypersoft tyre. Max Verstappen, as Daniel Ricciardo did yesterday, underlining the reliability that is clearly in that Red Bull this year with 187 laps. He ran a soft tyre and delivered a 1:19.842 with it. And for the third consecutive day, it's a Williams at the bottom of the timesheet. Lance Stroll, 67 laps on a 1:20.262, running the ultra soft tyre. As I said in last night's livestream, despite having had 7 days of pre-season testing, I still have no idea where Williams are going to be running this year. And I really hope that time from Lance Stroll today was down to a long run rather than their outright pace, because if Williams are 3 seconds off the pace, they're in serious trouble. It should be noted, though, that the majority of teams were focusing on longer runs throughout the afternoon, which is why maybe some of the drivers that ran in the afternoon session look a little bit more off the pace. There was definitely a really good mix of it today. On to today's talking points then, and following concern from some quarters that they were already lagging well behind Mercedes, Ferrari certainly showed there was some pace in that car today after Sebastian Vettel smashed the unofficial lap record with a time that raised more than a few eyebrows, as did his 1:19.9 in the afternoon on 25 lap old mediums. So on both long and short runs, the Ferrari is looking better than was believed earlier this week. However, despite that, Niki Lauda believes that Ferrari has slipped to third in the pecking order, and it's actually Red Bull that are the closest challengers to Mercedes this season. Something which Helmut Marko actually agrees with to some extent by saying that he feels Red Bull have a chassis that can compete, but Mercedes will always have the edge due to their power advantage, particularly over one lap, as we saw last year, of course. Mercedes had that extra engine mode who could give a little bit more in qualifying, and that did make a big difference over the course of the season. I'm not going to try and predict the running order just yet. However, one thing is for sure. Once you adjust those times to take into account the different tyre compounds, there is not a lot between that top 3. It is going to be so close this season. Sticking with Red Bull, but away from the track this time, and Helmut Marko also confirmed the team have agreed a deadline with Daniel Ricciardo for a decision to be taken regarding his future. As we know, the Aussie, of course, is out of contract at the end of this season and has already been heavily linked with a potentially vacant seat at Ferrari for 2019. Marko also stated that as soon as a deadline has passed, the team will let us know if it's a yes or a no for Ricciardo's Red Bull future. This isn't a huge surprise because Ricciardo did already say last week that he expected talks to start around April time. But as we've said throughout the winter, this year's driver market is going to be massively interesting, so watch this space. Now, I think it's fair to say that Toro Rosso have been the surprise package of winter testing so far, certainly in terms of reliability, and they have shown some pace today as well. but this has led to rumours circulating that they are using a new engine for each day of testing. However, this has been effectively denied by the team's technical director James Key, who stated, "We have run 3 engines, but only because we were cycling them in the first test. We didn't have to do that, and we've only run 1 in the second test. That's just a plan, not because we had to. It's been super reliable so far, so fingers crossed that continues." And the most interesting line from this quote for me was definitely, "It's the best power unit reliability we've had since the power unit era began. So very happy." Of course, it is only pre-season testing, but if Toro Rosso are anywhere near as reliable as they have been in testing, or as quick as they have shown, they could well be in that midfield scrap, which is going to be tight anyway. But to be honest, right now, I still expect them to be fighting with Haas and Sauber towards the back end of the grid. But to be fair, from what we've seen this week, the back end of the grid is not going to be cut that far adrift from the midfield. It is so close. I know I keep saying that, but it really is. But just to go back to that quote quickly from James Key, he's saying that Toro Rosso have used just 1 power unit this week, which, if true, and we can only take him on face value with that, means that power unit has already completed 341 laps this week. What a difference a year makes. That is it from me. I will be back tomorrow with a roundup of the final day of pre-season testing, which means the season itself starts proper 2 weeks on Sunday. Not long now. But in the meantime, you can follow me on social media. Links to Facebook, Twitter, and to Discord are all in the description down below. But as ever, thank you for watching. I've been Sean. This has been the F1 Word. And until next time, goodbye.